City adds who's an attorney. And just like that, we're back, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to the worldwide broadcast of the Ted and Austin Brower Show, bringing you the latest world news and health research. Hope you guys are having an absolutely fantastic day today. You guys know College is on sales product of the week. It will be voted off now. I guess voted off was a survivor. You're voted off. And the multiple powder.
We'll have to see which product gets the rose this week.
Gets the rose. Well, I figured it was the ultimate multiple powder.
Which one's winning?
Won by a landslide.
Oh, I got the rose.
Multiple powder. So that'll be updated a couple hours, guys. If you want to grab that on sale, be sure to check it out. And be sure to check out thebrowershow.com. We always got all of our articles, podcasts, stuff we post every single day on here, including yesterday we talked about the TICO bill. And boy, have I gotten inundated with the electric bill comments. I've got multiple people that have emailed me about this now all across the country, exactly what I thought. This isn't just isolated.
Oh, by the way, I'm going to say this, and forgive me if I'm offensive to anybody. I try not to be that way. Apparently Austin and I have gotten doxed.
Oh, yeah.
Okay. Now, it's not affecting me as bad because my telephone's set up not to take any phone calls from people that I don't know. But apparently Austin's being completely delusional stuff.
Phone calls all the time.
And the latest the rumor is, now get ready. Yeah, here's the rumor. Ready? You ready? Austin's my son. Now, I know that we look like brothers. I got that. But now the rumor is that Austin and I are married.
That is the rumor. That's somebody posted online.
And I'm like, okay, it's great. And I started laughing. Now my late wife Sharon, she hasn't been doxed. Of course, her phone stuff is all disconnected. It's all disconnected.
You can't dox.
Can't hack her. She's not around anymore. But the crazy part about it is that this is what happens when you basically do a podcast and a lot of people have access. And I'm gonna say this in a really nice way because we're about to scrub everything off best we can. If we don't know you and you're mad about something, do us a favor. Just call the office if you'd like, but don't be calling our cell phones. It's just, like I said, it's just kind of rough because you don't know who the people are calling you, and you don't know if they're legit. You don't know if they're real. You don't know if they're a stalker.
Well, yeah, it says Austin is married to Ted Brower. Family members brings up Alexis, Savannah, Lauren Brower.
Who's Lauren
I don't
Brower?
even know who that is.
That's probably one of the other Browers.
There
aren't very many of us.
Well, it has to be up north.
All
right.
Well, the problem is, I told Austin to change his number, and he said, well, it's difficult to do that because so many of the suppliers that we work with have his number.
And then sometimes they call me on different numbers. They call me on office numbers that I don't have saved. And so then then I start blocking everything or I change it. It becomes a giant fiasco. So I'll have that scrubbed pretty quick. I already got a site that my attorney told me to do, and they go in, they basically start just scrubbing everything. I didn't care that much, and then it was like, yeah, Austin Brower's happily married to Ted Brower. I'm like, all right, now you got real gay. My phone number's one thing. Now you get real gay on me. I'm not joking on this, guys. I saw it last night, and I was like, okay, this just getting. And obviously, what it is probably AI. A bunch of information has been scrubbed through AI, and so they run it through it, and then it gets blasted online. And
there are people out there that don't like us.
What?
Sorry.
What? Somebody doesn't like me?
Center camera there, Rich.
God forbid I'm not liked by everyone.
We realize that we're the equal opportunity offenders. We got it, all right? Oh. But, geez, being doxxed is interesting. But again, my phone number has everything blocked that I don't know caller
That's
ID.
why I can't ever get a hold of you. It blocks me out.
No, it doesn't block you. But the crazy part about it, I don't even keep my phone with me most of the time anyhow because I wasn't raised with a cell phone attached to my hip with a permanent umbilical.
I generally like it. Not having a phone sometimes.
Oh, me too.
When I was going on vacation, I took 2 days. I just left my phone on a charger in the back bedroom. I'd check it occasionally to talk to the kids, and then just.
Whenever I go on a date, I just leave my phone in the car anyhow because I don't be bothered with all that. It's just not worth it.
The problem is the phones, man, and they're great tools for business development, marketing, but they're also incredibly distractive devices that will absolutely, if you're not careful, they will ruin relationships because you become so attached to what everybody else is doing and what everybody else needs to get a hold of you. Let's put it this way. You don't owe anybody, unless it's immediate family or children, you don't owe anybody the ability to get a hold of you 24/7 anytime they want.
No, I told the story.
You don't owe that.
I told the story a couple weeks ago. I'll tell it again. I had this girl. She wanted to go out with me. This is years ago.
Why does everything always defer
People
back
love this?
to
People love
dating?
This. You love this, don't you?
Go,
No, you always tell,
well, listen.
tell more dating stories. You always tell me.
Allegedly online, we're married, so you can't be dating anybody anymore. God, I can't handle the internet
and
today.
what's funny is I get there. I get to the date. And she's there an hour early. By the time I get there, she's ordered about $100 worth of food. Okay? No, it was not. It was $90.
That's some food.
No, it was $90. And she had food all over the table. And I said, all I wanted was a little piece of spanakopita.
So she ordered this before you got there.
You expected me to pay, yeah. Of
So
course.
you weren't there though when she ordered.
No. And so,
That's brazen, bro. That's brazen. Like, I'm just gonna order all this food. He's not even here. I'm not gonna wait for him.
it bit her in the bottom side. I got her in the back side.
Yeah.
And so I get there and she's on her phone. And she thinks she's some big executive making these phone calls and doing it all in Spanish on top of everything else, so I can't even understand it.
Probably not talking to anybody.
Leaving all these. And finally, I looked at her. I asked her 3 times, "Can you please put your phone down?" And she wouldn't do it. And finally, so I eat a little tiny piece of spanakopita about that big. It was like $13 or whatever. And the waitress came over and I said, "Here's $20 for my spanakopita, separate bills." And I looked at the girl. I only been there for 15 minutes.
Yeah.
And, I mean, she had octopus. I mean, all this expensive stuff.
All the big appetizers.
And I looked at her, and we were sitting right by the door at the Acropolis in Ybor City, and the waitress already knew what I was going to do.
Oh yeah.
And I said, "You have fun with your telephone." I walked straight out the door. I walked out, just left her there with her $90 bill, and I came in there a week later with another date. The same waitress was there. She walked up, she started laughing. She goes, "I knew you were going to leave." And I said,
"Oh yeah."
I said, "That girl was nuts." And I said, "How big was the bill?" She was $90. I mean, that was with a 20% tip. That's $108 for lunch. And she stiffed her on the tip.
Well, yeah. I mean,
Because she didn't know what to do. She got tagged with that $90. So the point is, when you go out with somebody who's a weirdo, just step away as quick as you can and don't pay a bill. I'm surprised she had to order like 4 espresso martinis for $25 a piece.
that's what I was expecting you to say. She's got a full liquor bar down there too.
And I tell them, I said, we don't do alcohol. I don't buy alcohol. And if you're really a nightmare, you're going to pay your own bill. That's where I was going to leave. And my quickest date, you guys won't believe this, but it was about 30 seconds. Done. And I don't put up with it. When you got a real bad energy field, and we've talked about this before, there's a certain energy that comes with Christian. When you meet somebody else, sometimes it's like 2 north sides of a magnet pushing each other away. It's instant conflict. And when that happens, why in the world do you want to spend any more time with that individual, or why do you want to spend money on them? Okay, now, I got to do some condolences. Dolly Parton died with cancer.
I saw that.
By the time she passed away, all of her hair had fallen out, but she wore a wig anyhow, bless her heart. And she never really spoke about her cancer. I'll give her credit for that.
I didn't even know.
And so, my deepest condolences to her family and to all of her fans all over the world.
She was huge.
She was huge. Been around for 60 years in the entertainment industry. I actually got to see her one time in person about 10 feet away.
Yeah.
At Dolly World, that place Dollywood or wherever it was. And I was up there with a friend of mine up in Gatlinburg or Pigeon Forge. And I walked it, I actually got to see her. She was just as pretty in real life as she was in the
She's
videos.
a heck of an entertainer, man. She did it for years. She had a huge following, especially in the country music world.
I mean, she had a huge movie out. What was it called? The Best Little Whorehouse in Texas.
That was a film.
Can't believe I said that.
I doubt that was her favorite accomplishment. Sometimes, the problem is with movies, because I've talked to people that have been in acting before. The problem is a lot of times something sounds good on paper. You read the script.
It was a huge box office smash.
It was, but you got to look back like 20, 30 years
really
later.
need to do that?
It was not really, because, a lot of times when you're younger, you're hungry, you're doing stuff, you're wanting to grow business. They're like, it's going to build and build. And it did. It just got huge.
And then she had 9 to 5. That was good. She had a bunch of hit songs.
Yeah, there was a
and
bunch
so,
of good
again,
stuff.
my deepest condolences to Dolly. She got kind of, how should I say, misled a little bit by the globals. We can talk about that later, but not today. I'm going to show her respect today, and that's all we're going to talk about. And but by the way, measles outbreaks from multiple states now are making people have a complete meltdown. Exposes thousands as the U.S. records its first deaths this year. You know what they don't do, and this was ironic to me. More states are battling measles outbreaks in the highest in more than 30 years. So now they're saying it's because people aren't vaccinating their kids, right? Now here's the problem they have. We've had so many kids die of sudden infant death syndrome every year. Highest infant death rate in the entire industrialized world. as far as what we have in the United States. That nobody talks about that from the vaccines, primarily from the vaccines. So we have a couple kids die of measles, which is more of a neglect kind of thing than anything else. It really is. Then you find out in the situation, now they're going to make a big deal about it. Now, here's the thing. How many of these kids already had health problems anyhow from other vaccines?
There you go. Here's the problem that nobody's wanting to address with this. A lot of times when kids get this plethora of shots at 2 months, at 3 months, at 6 months, it causes a massive autoimmune problem, also immune, basically downgrade. At first, it causes the immune system, basically, that's not even developed yet, to go just bonkers. They don't have an immune system that's really developed. So the body can't fight all the stuff off. Well, then what happens is, well, they've got these shots and these shots. They've got their diphtheria, they've got their pertussis, and they've got their chickenpox. Now, so they get exposed to real measles.
Well, I had 2 kids die in Pennsylvania, and here's the thing.
How many kids have died from shots?
A lot more than
That's
that.
the point.
And the thing about it is that, you know, and they made a big deal on that. Here's the problem. We don't know the underlying health conditions these children had. They may have been terminal with cancer. Who knows? We don't know what they were with. And so the couple, and my deepest condolences to the families of the children who died. But the sad part about it is that, you know, they're making a big deal because you never had a measles shot, and you had measles for like 3 days.
Chickenpox.
And chickenpox.
It is what it is, man. I haven't had a purple stick this morning. I'm yawning. That was rude.
Do you want to go get
I'm going to go make one. I was like, man, I'm chilling. I've had no purple sticks. Woke up in the morning with a fit food and GHI and got on a computer and went ham. And then was figuring out how to undox myself because the clown show on the internet never changes. But it's fine. It's fun. We enjoy this day. I'm going to go make a purple stick.
You make a purple stick. That was empty. There's one full. That was really aggressive.
That was abrupt.
That thing went across the room.
I'm sorry, guys.
Hey,
listen. By the way, gotta say this: the purple stick cans.
Don't.
No, okay, never mind. We got plenty of inventory in stock. Let us know if you need anything, Health Master. I'm gonna make a drink. I gotta. All right.
If you say something,
I'm not gonna say
they'll be gone by today.
We're good. We're good. Anyways, what's your health story? I'm gonna make a shake real quick.
The U.S.-Canada trade war threatens electricity imports.
I heard something about that.
This is why I'm covering this today because of what we talked about yesterday with the absolute piece of garbage utility supplier TECO, Tampa Electric Company, that is the worst of the worst of the worst. U.S.-Canadian trade war threatens electricity imports. An escalating trade war between the United States and Canada, which is unbelievably stupid, is once again threatening to snare the electric power sector at a time when consumers are already stretched thin. Canada is expected to announce retaliatory tariffs on U.S. goods Tuesday after Trump's 50% tariffs on about $20 billion in Canadian goods went into effect over the weekend with threats of more on the way. On Monday, Ontario Premier Doug Ford told the Associated Press that everything's on the table, including halting the province's critical minerals and electricity exports entirely. The BBC reported Ford said he would, Canadian Prime Minister Kerry, discuss about this, is that we have a problem already with electricity rates through the roof. Now, let me explain something to you about the grid. You know, we have power lines that connect the United States and Canada, and they sell power to us and we sell power to them. It's kind of like a spinning reserve they have from different power companies. So when one area needs more power can go into it. These connections, they're all connected like this throughout the entire United States. It's a full electrical grid. The problem is if transformers or stations go out in one area, then the other stations can pick up the slack. If you start having multiple power failures in multiple transformer areas, you'll start blowing major fuses. And when that happens, they don't keep enough fuses in stock to replace all the fuses at once, so you have a rolling blackout. That's what causes it. And they've got to go back in and fix it. Canada supplies power to us. We supply power to them. A lot of their power is hydroelectric. Some of it's still coal-fired. The crazy part about this is that whenever you have a country that you've worked with for years and years and years, like Canada, which they got great people in Canada, and suddenly you decide to do a retaliatory tariff thing on them, the Canadian economy is already in unbelievable trouble. It's a mess up there. Their Canadian dollar is falling through the floor, and they don't know what to do. They're already in trouble financially, and now Donald Trump's starting to do tariffs on their other goods. It's going to hurt Canada even more. And here's the problem when you have a bully in the classroom with a baseball bat with net steel spikes in it.
Oh gosh.
Okay, I did that one time. I was a kid. I'd seen it in one of these old TV movies.
It's a very effective battle rattle tool.
No, I took a baseball bat or whatever it was, a big club, and I drove a bunch of spikes through it.
Oh, it works.
And I thought I want to see what that looks like. And I thought to myself, I got to throw this thing away. This is dangerous.
Yeah.
I'm glad my mom didn't see it. I'd probably gotten hit with it. It's terrible. She was like to hit me with things.
And lest you guys think I don't drink these in the morning. Cheers to y'all. Purple stick time. This morning I'm ready to get rolling again.
But so anyhow, sometimes it's easier to negotiate with people than it is to throw big tariffs at them. I guess the whole key is when you're the bully in the classroom and you spent your whole life being the bully, now I'm talking about Donald Trump now specifically in case you don't think who I'm talking about, and all you want to do is threaten people, and you're 6'4" and you're a big guy, and your dad leaves you tens of millions of dollars as a trust fund baby, and you're able to force your weight around because of your father's name in New York, and you basically become super arrogant, you become a megalomaniac, and you feel like you can do anything you want to do, then you can threaten other countries. Oh, that's right. Iran may have nuclear weapons. Oh, we heard that with Iraq, remember? Saddam Hussein has nuclear weapons. Remember, we heard that one too. And so suddenly we go into Afghanistan for only one reason. It had nothing to do with Trump, was to make sure we brought the poppy supply back up because we were running out of heroin to fund the CIA and the covert operations and the black ops. You read Operation Gladio, the unholy alliance between the CIA, the Vatican, and the mafia. You really need to read that book. It's by my friend Paul Williams. Really good book, heavily referenced. So when you have a person who's a megalomaniac in charge of power and expects complete loyalty from his people that are in power with him, and then he tells everybody that at the end of his term he's going to give everybody a pardon, which I think he needs to, honestly, because there are going to be a lot of people in a lot of trouble up there. You got to realize that, we're going to have a problem for another 2 years with this mess. And now he's saying he's going to run for president again, which is, I have no idea how he's going to do that. And he'll probably challenge it legally as far as the ability to run again and get tied up in the courts again. So it's a major problem that we have with a person who carries a baseball bat with spikes in it, and the only tool he has in his arsenal is threats and bombs and everything else, my opinion.
Well, in another part that's happened too, though, now is you also have this aspect of where we have the entire. I'm gonna play a video, guys. There's multiple influential podcasters now that everybody's starting to say the exact same thing: is how do we handle a Congress that's bought and paid for by Israel?
The beanie hat country.
Well, when you have pretty much every single congressional leader's got an AIPAC handler. They have an Israeli handler, and they control pretty much everything now. Every decision's made in there. At what point do you start calling it out? Because it's not anti-Semitic to say that. It's documented facts now. Marjorie Taylor Greene made it very, very clear. Massey made it very, very clear.
We had one listener say we can call them our beanie buddies or the beanie brigade, brigade beanie hat.
Yeah.
Or we can call them the little hat company.
You're talking. YouTube. Oh, thank you guys always for popping up on YouTube. We get lots of comments on here. I don't respond to all of them. I don't see all of them sometimes. But again, if you guys actually have a specific health question that I can answer on the air, we'll be happy to answer them. Just don't get too crazy in-depth stuff that I got to spend an enormous amount of time on. But if you got a question about product, proteins, anything, feel free to ask a question on there, and we'll answer it whenever I see it. Now, going back to what I was just talking about, I got to play this. I got to play it. This is a question that everybody's asking ourselves. What do we do, and how do we question this?
Who's this person?
This is basically Real Bradley on here. He's got a big account, and a few other guys that is interviewing that's the same. They basically some big podcasters. And this isn't becoming just an abnormal aspect anymore. This is becoming the norm.
Because America is a proxy of Israel run by dual nationals and bootlicking Shabbos Goy.
That's a comment on there.
That's a crazy comment.
Well, that's it.
I can't believe I read that.
I can't believe I read it.
Go America first or Israel first?
To America first or Israel first?
Israel first. How come they won't just say it's America first? Like, that's what leads me to believe there's files and there's secret pictures and there's some sort of hold over our leadership.
Well, Thomas Massey specifically was the one to really make this very well known, where he was like,
Everybody but me has an AIPAC person.
What does that mean, an AIPAC person?
It's like your babysitter, your AIPAC babysitter.
and he's just like, these people will say, I'm going to make this decision on this bill or whatever. Let me check with my Israeli representative, American representative that also has some type of loyalty to Israel. They know that in the event that they go against what this very powerful lobbying group has to say, that they will collectively use their financial power and might to destroy that person and find a person to replace them. And that's exactly what they did to Thomas Massey and what they've done to a multitude of other candidates that dare to voice their disposition or their discontent with Israel or Israeli interests. And now sometimes it's leftists, but like with Thomas Massey, you don't find a more America first Republican congressman than Thomas Massey. Pure and simple. He represents everything that the Trump campaign said.
Yeah, Rep. Didn't Trump seem to support Massey at some point?
He endorsed Massey at one point, yes.
Yeah, and now he's against him, like he's like totally against him.
Very much so, yes.
See, that's what I don't understand. And then Marjorie Taylor Greene.
Same thing.
Same thing.
Yes.
It is
one of
like,
Trump's most loyal supporters.
Yeah. It's peculiar.
Yes. It would lead the average observer to say, why would that be? And the only reason that would be that group of people happens to have power over them.
And that's the thing that a lot of people need to start talking and being more boisterous about. I think everybody's starting to realize that, being quiet and being silent and just pretending the stuff isn't happening is getting us nowhere. And the issue we're starting to run into now is with the tech groups, the censorship that they've done now, saying that if you bring any of this stuff up, you're suddenly anti-Semitic. That doesn't matter. I don't care anymore. I don't care, and I haven't cared for a while, but now it's starting to reach a point where this needs to be called out on a regular basis. What happened with Massey? What happened with Marjorie Taylor Greene? Everybody needs to be more vocal about it. I know I got a lot of health stuff to cover today, but since you brought up that topic, I just wanted to cover that on there. So lest you think I'm the only one who's talking about it, there's a whole lot of other people that are bringing it up now too.
Well, this stuff's been going on for a lot longer than Israel's been controlling the United States. It started with J. Edgar Hoover, who was head of the FBI, and he kept files on
Blackmail. It was the early stages of blackmail, yeah.
And what he said was, you don't have to control all of Congress. You have to just control 51% of the voting bloc.
The crazy part about it is now, though, they got so greedy they control almost all of it now.
But
you look, there's very few congressional leaders now that don't have massive AIPAC funding coming in.
Well, remember J. Edgar Hoover was he was a gay cross-dresser weirdo, and that's what he was. And so he knew what he was, so he started collecting all this information. He's had FBI for decades. And the sad part about it is that, we sit back and we watch this stuff happen and remember that back in the 30s and 40s when he was head of the FBI, everybody knew he was gay, but nobody really talked about it and nobody really did anything about it. And it wasn't the fact that he was gay that was the problem. It was the fact that he kept all the dirt on all these politicians. He kept files on all of them. And he'd do investigations on them. And so it was basically controlling them that way. Well, AIPAC learned, the American Israeli Political Action Committee, they learned very well from J. Edgar Hoover. And J. Edgar Hoover had photos and all kinds of other stuff of them with girls and girlfriends or boyfriends or whatever. And he kept it in their files so he could control them. And, and AIPAC and Mossad, they learned that they could do the same thing with our politicians, and they've been doing it since the 60s with Lyndon Baines Johnson. Watch the video, Sacrificing Liberty. It's a 5-part series. It's worth the money to buy. I suggest that you get it. I talk about what happened with the USS Liberty and how it was basically strafed by Israel back in 1967. Off the coast of Egypt. Very good video. You need to all watch that.
If you don't understand what that was about, you need to watch that film. It'll change your entire concept of everything.
What happened is Lyndon Baines Johnson had a Mossad honeypot, and he was having an affair with her in the White House, and basically she was running the show with him. And that's one of the reasons that all that stuff came out, and he decided he would not run for re-election. I remember him saying, I will not run for president again, and if I'm nominated, I will not accept the nomination. I remember him giving that speech. And yes, I'm that old. I remember that. Hard to believe, isn't it? And so it was crazy. And I thought to myself, what's going on with this guy? And I'm a little kid still. I'm thinking to myself, I'm like 13 years old when this is going on. I'm thinking to myself, what is going on with this clown? Because he had taken over Kennedy. A lot of people said that he was involved in the Kennedy assassination. A lot of people said that was Mossad. Now, whether that's true or not, I don't know. But, there's a really good video that you can watch. It's called From JFK to 9/11. It's a rich man's trick. And that's about a 3.5-hour video. I don't agree with everything on it, but I agree with most of it on there. From JFK to 9/11, it's a rich man's trick. And, and for almost 100 years, these global scum that run the planet, who eat people and drink blood and basically control money supplies, they're continuing to do this stuff. And what they learned, is that if they keep the people basically blackmailed deep enough and far enough, and they'll start real young. What they'll do, they'll take a person who's coming out of college. Yep. And they'll know he has political aspirations, and they'll start promoting him. They make them a cutout. And all of a sudden they show up at a party one night, and there's this beautiful 25-year-old woman there. This kid's like 22 years old. He's thinking, my God, this girl's hot. And they set him up with him in the back room. Now, I'm just being real blunt. And all of a sudden they take a video of it through the two-way mirror. And you think, okay, whatever. She's 25 years old. Well, she ain't 25. She's 14 or 15. And they got her heavily made up. And then they tell him, oh, by the way, we got a video of you with this 15-year-old. And, oh, by the way, that is statutory rape. And we're going to put you in prison, or we're going to ruin you, or you're going to do what we tell you to do.
Here's the problem.
It happens all the time, guys.
Here's the issue, man. We've stepped into this weird Twilight Zone world now with AI.
It's a Twilight Zone, bud.
Well, no, because now you understand. You don't even have to do something anymore.
And they can play the video.
They can create AI with enough data on you and enough content on you. Why do you think they're so obsessed with facial recognition? Mm-hmm. The facial recognition software they have is designed to basically align you with who you are. That's what they say. It's for security and safety, right? Yeah. No. What it really, in the background basis of it, the real true root of this is to continually update software on you to be able to analyze and recreate you if they need to. Remember what I talked to you guys about a month ago? The Israeli software that came out, and they said they could go in and actually recreate something going on with cameras, with body cam footage, with whatever security cameras they want, and you cannot tell whether or not it's AI. It's so real now. The only way you can do that is you have to have enough data points to give AI. AI can't just build you out of nothing. You can't say, make a photo that's perfect of Austin Brower, video. It gets something. It may look kind of like me, but you've got to have an enormous amount of data. You got to have video on footage of walking. You got to have photos. You got to have facial expressions. You have to have all these data points. That, in my opinion, is why they're doing all that. And that's why I tell you guys I'm so adamant and careful about giving up my safety and for security with the phones. I mean, the thing on the front of the phone, your selfie camera, that is designed to take facial recognition. That is facial recognition software. It records your face every time you open it up. It adapts to your age as you get older. All that stuff is recorded every single time. The same thing with voice recognition. This is why I tell you guys to turn off all your permissions on your apps or delete them if you don't need them. Because those apps, if you look, after you put them on there, they have your microphone and they have your camera permissions on, meaning they watch you and they listen to you 24/7. They say, well, we don't, you know, that content and that stuff is deleted after certain. It's not. It's never deleted. It goes into Internet of Things now. The reason why they need AI data centers that are the size of Amazon warehouse buildings, it's not the house servers to keep all your photos and your future renderings of your new bathroom that you're remodeling.
You know, the other day I got a different telephone, my backup phone to take to the airport with me now. It was an old phone that I'd used years ago. It had gotten wet, didn't work. I got it repaired, and I downloaded everything off of it and traded it in on another phone. And I couldn't believe it, Austin. We went to the iCloud and had it backed up, right? And it downloaded like the last 4 years of text messages.
Oh, yeah.
That I deleted.
Oh, yeah.
They were still in the cloud.
It's the cloud, baby. It's there. It's in the Internet of Things.
And so
now.
you've got to go into the cloud, which you can do, by the way. You can delete all your text messages. It says it takes about 30 to 60 days to do it. Delete all of them.
Once you delete it out of the cloud, I don't think there's much more retrieving it anymore.
No, there's not.
Because it's deleted permanently. But no, everything goes up there.
No, it's crazy. I couldn't even. And so I get this phone, right? And I look at it, I'm like, there's hundreds of messages on it. I'm like, what the heck did this? It went back 4 years. In fact, a couple of people I contacted, talked to one of them this morning that I hadn't spoken with in 4 years.
Yeah.
And he says, who is this? Because it was a new phone number. I said, this is Ted Brower. Nice to talk to you. And we talked to him this morning. Great guy. And the crazy part about it is that you don't even realize how this stuff is stored and saved. And that's why they want these data centers, guys. They want to, like Austin said, they want every single thing stored and saved. Your entire life they want stored and saved because they can build a little mini you running around that's basically doing whatever they want it to do, and it's not even you doing it. And then how in the world, if they file something on or charge you with something, can you say that wasn't me? And then you got to get attorneys involved, okay? You got to get attorneys involved, say, okay, this was AI, and then you got to try to go in forensic evidence and try to figure out how they manipulated, how they created it.
All at the same time, you're being charged still. And
they seize your bank accounts. And now you can't even hire a forensic attorney to go in and look what's going on. Oh, by the way, gold has been weaponized. This is an interesting article. Something has shifted in how Washington talks about gold, and most investors are missing it because it's happening in 3 separate news cycles instead of one headline. First, back in July, Treasury Secretary Bassett went on Fox News saying, and almost as a side, reminded the country that the dollar used to be backed by silver, sometimes gold. He wasn't making a policy announcement. He was just narrating a story. But a sitting Treasury Secretary doesn't actually bring up gold backing, unless it's a point. But notice what he didn't do. He didn't dismiss the idea and the fringe conspiracy that basically the gold is gone. He answered it seriously with numbers on national television and said we had about $1 trillion in gold at Fort Knox, which, by the way, is a total lie. And then they said, so the government has just formally declared gold as a sanctionable strategic asset class in the same breath as crypto and jet fuel. You hear what I just said? Okay, so this is interesting. It says gold re-entering the architecture of the financial system, not just the price charts.
Jet fuels,
okay?
that's
what this means to you. None of this requires Bretton Woods or a formal return to gold standard to matter to your portfolio. It requires something much simpler. The reintroduction of gold as a tool of state power after 5 decades of being treated as a museum piece. They used to call it an antique relic. The reintroduction changes the demand structure. Central bank buying at roughly double the historical pace already happening right now all over the world. So I don't think gold has had its heyday. I think it's going to continue to go up as the dollar continues to go down. When you're paying $7 for a little tiny bag of organic vegetables and you buy 8 bags and it's $50, $60, and it normally would have been about $12, and now you got this coming out. It's a big deal.
Well, I talked about it at the beginning of the year when gold started going complete bonkers.
Mm-hmm.
You know, we were in the high 2s last year. Then basically it broke 3, and then it kept going up. I told everybody, I said, it's going to keep going up.
And it's going to flatten out and
It's
drop.
going to flatten out, and it's going to recorrect, and it did exactly what I told you it was going to do. And I told everybody, I said, do what you do. I'm not giving you financial advice. I know what I know on my end, and I play my cards on what I played, and I played it perfect. I told you guys that. Look at what you're looking at on the numbers. Buy in when you feel comfortable on it. When you don't. When you start seeing a massive bubble explode, you know, if you don't chase the run, that's the thing on it. You need to be in it before that. You've seen that where it stabilized that in the mid 4s. When it runs up again, 5's going to be the new baseline again. It'll be back up there very, very soon, in my opinion. The problem is they had to recorrect it because it was going just completely and totally just to the moon, to use that that term, with silver and gold. You guys saw that. That's why they went in. JP Morgan did a massive short on silver when it hit almost $120 an ounce. They couldn't let it keep going up because people were all taking physical delivery. And what happened was
the data centers.
they shorted it straight down to about 80 an ounce, and everybody went, oh my gosh, the sky's falling. And I'm like, dude, we haven't even seen gold at 50 an ounce and freaking since the 80s. Suddenly we're holding way over that. And everybody's like, oh my gosh. So it was funny. It's ironic. Some people just got to chill out, buy it, hold it, flip it if you want. I don't care. Do what you want. I'm not giving you financial advice, but understand that it's been around a lot longer than this little paper currency we have floating around called U.S. dollars. That's
And if you're going to hold it in an IRA, get the prices they're going to charge you for holding the gold.
Yeah.
Don't use JP Morgan. Just let you know that they're a ripoff. They always have been. They're a Rothschild company.
Article I want to cover here. This is a health one here. It says daily multivitamin linked to slower biological aging in new clinical trial.
That's a fact.
Multivitamins correct subtle nutrient insufficiencies that quietly undermine cellular aging processes. Biological aging refers to how well the body system functions relative to a person's chronological age. Scientists can estimate biological age by reading chemical tags on DNA that change in predictable patterns as we get older. The study published in Nature Medicine examined whether daily multivitamins contain a broad mix of essential minerals, vitamins, could influence biological aging. Researchers analyzed 958 randomly selected healthy older adults with a mean age of 70 who participated in the multivitamin outcome study. Outgoing randomized clinical trial in the United States designed to test the health effects of multivitamins. Participants were randomly assigned to 4 groups. Essentially, let me get through some of this. This is a long article on here. And it says what they uncovered was a key mechanism that may underline the clinical findings of multivitamins for cognition, cancer, and cataracts. The results are encouraging. They said previous analyses have also linked multivitamin use to other health outcomes. Compared to the participants who took the placebo, those taking multivitamins showed slower aging in 2 epigenetic clocks linked to mortality risk. The effect translated to about 4 months less biological aging over 2 years. Did you hear that? I'm going to repeat that again. The effects translated to 4 months less biological aging over just 2 years. That means you're aging 2 months less every year when they're taking a multivitamin. 2 months less every year. That's enormous, guys. That means basically on a 2-month scale on per year like that, over 10 years, that's 20 months. That means you're shaving off almost 2 years every 10 years.
So about a 20% reduction in aging.
Yeah. And remember, I don't know exactly what quality of multivitamins they took on here. I could probably bet you any amount of money they weren't as top tier as the Ultra Multiple Powder.
I bet you $10.
Yeah,
I guarantee you they're not.
Guarantee you they weren't. They may have been halfway decent. They may have had bioactive B vitamins. I don't know. They don't list the actual.
Now they're going to start sending you betting stuff on your phone today.
Oh gosh, they are.
Have fun with
that.
that.
Doxed with Hard Rock. Leave me alone. So, anyways, though, multivitamins definitely play a significant role, and especially when you're taking high quality ones. There's an article I'm going to cover tomorrow.
Well, let's talk about it for a second. It's multiple vitamin.
Let's do it.
If you need a certain amount of vitamins and minerals and amino acids and proteins and essential fats in your diet every single day, and you don't get them, your body ages faster.
Yeah.
Because you have faster cellular turnover. The faster the cellular turnover occurs, the faster you age. This theory that I'm talking about, you live longer. In other words, if you have, let's say you have 50 possible cell turnovers in your life, so that means it takes 2 years to turn over cells. So now, if you maximize the turnover, you live 100 years. That's simple math. Okay, if the cells turns over and one every year, you're gonna live 50 years. If it's turned over 4 times a year, you're gonna live 25 years. Your cells, your mitochondria just runs out. Your telomeres shorten up, and you just run out of energy.
We got detuned. I mean, you go back to Genesis, and it was talking about 900 years old.
Yeah,
that's some serious. That's some serious
said,
mitochondria.
God basically had enough of that.
You guys are getting obnoxious. You're around too long. Well, the problem is, and the expansion of that, you understand, is all this, the knowledge base. You're around for 900 years. Boy, you've seen some stuff.
Oh, yeah.
Like, you've seen some stuff in 900 years.
You know, it's funny, too. People are always asking me, how do you know all this stuff? And I'm like, I've been around a long time. Well, but you tell me and you give me advice and you're right like 99% of the time. I said, well, that's true, but it's because I've experienced and I've already made these mistakes. I've already gone through this. You know, a wise man will learn from somebody else who's had the experience. A stupid man will not learn. They will not listen. They will do the same thing over and over and over again until they learn it themselves, if they live long enough and don't kill themselves in the process. Am I right?
Or go to prison.
And so you see it over and over. You have these guys, they've been arrested 10 times, they've been in prison 5 times, they've been all these jail times, and they don't learn. They go right back to the same friends that do the same things with over and over and over again. They get fired from job after job after job after job after job.
And
they bring the same attitude to every new job.
You ask the question, how many felonies do you want?
Yeah.
How many do you want to add up to?
Well, you're going out to a crack house and you ask yourself, what am I doing?
What's it doing to me?
What's it doing to me? And is that okay? Oh, getting arrested again, I guess. Oh, well. And you get to a point where that becomes normalized.
Well, that's the problem. You get that incarceration mindset, and that's what happens to a lot of those guys. Sometimes it gets so bad, and I saw it in college in some of the studies we did, especially when I was working with that methadone clinic, you get some of the people that they preferred being incarcerated than
because somebody will control their lives.
So they get fed. They don't have to do anything, and they basically just stay in there.
A big reason that a lot of people's lives peak at 18 while they're still in high schools because their parents are still making their decisions.
Yeah.
And who have had more experience because they're making these stupid decisions. I saw this one kid, I'll never forget this, and he ended up basically starting a stucco business right out of high school. I started making really big money for the 70s. I mean, big money. And he had another guy making big money. And they were working together. Man, they started doing the pot, doing the drugs, doing the cocaine, doing the alcohol, staying stoned all the time, broke all the time, because they were spending all their money on drugs. Pretty soon they're both in jail. Now, like most of them are dead now. One of them's still alive. He's been in prison like 5 times. He never, ever learned. And again, people need to learn. Oh, by the way, this is an interesting article. I'm going to say this, and I'm going to come back to it in a second. Did Trump start the Iran war to drive attention away from the Epstein files?
Yeah.
Now, we called this out back in April, right? Now, remember this. The United States and Israel launched a war on Iran just a few days after this Epstein file release was blocked. Now, suddenly, nobody's talking about Epstein anymore besides us and a few other people, right? And so now suddenly we're backing out of the Gulf War, we're backing out of Iran, we're backing out of everything because the Epstein files are no longer the primary news cycle. Now, I just said a lot to say very little. In other words, every time that this stuff comes up like it does and it starts going through the AI algorithms that Austin talked about, AI decides, hey, look, the only way you're going to stop this mess with the AI is to basically create a bigger conflict.
Massive conflict that has to be bigger than what everybody...
And that way nobody talks about Epstein anymore or about the elite eating children. And you think, oh, wow. Well, that's the problem. That's one of the reasons that we're so shadow banned and basically choked down on YouTube because they don't want us talking about that. And so I'm going to talk about it no matter what until God calls me home. I'm not going to stop this because if you think it's okay what Epstein did with those 10-year-old girls, you're the problem. I mean, I remember we were in that Uber with that idiot. Remember that in St. Louis a few months back, going to see Dr. Eric. And I remember he was just hammering Trump, hammering him. And finally I told him, I said, well, let's forget about Trump. Both sides are being controlled by Epstein. They were eating kids and they were sacrificing children. How do you feel about that? Remember, he got real quiet.
Yeah, he did.
He didn't know what to say.
He didn't even have a rebuttal to that.
And I said,
everything else, he had some smart ass, excuse my language, some smart rebuttal on it. That topic, he's like, well, yeah, that's not okay. Mm-hmm. Like you can't sit there and justify that and be like, oh, that's normalized behavior.
Well, the reason for that is Putin just came out and did this big thing. I saw it the other day. He's talking about how the West is controlled by these people that control the money supply that eat people and drink blood. Putin's saying that.
Adrenochrome, man.
And
it's sick. And this is why, and let me say this. I'm going to say this because I got another health article to cover because this show got real weird today. It's Wednesday. My purple stick got too delayed. I'll say this. If you have kids, if you have grandkids, if you're helping with other parents' kids, You have to do your absolute best to protect them depending on where they are and what they're doing as much as possible. That doesn't mean you're a helicopter overprotective parent and you're running around like, oh my gosh, you can't go outside, you can't ride a bicycle, you can't breathe fresh air. Don't be that weirdo parent. But you've got to be understanding of what this system has created. This system that they've built now with flock cameras, with the Internet of Things, with the social medias, it's designed to funnel kids into areas where they don't need to be going. The entire system is built to funnel children into child trafficking now. This is why they have these platforms.
So much money in it. They make billions.
It is the biggest black market industry other than guns and drugs.
And Jim Caviezel talked about that. Remember that in that movie, Sound of Freedom?
It's a dark topic. I've covered it many times. I talk about it a lot in person to other people. I don't like covering it on the show a lot because it's just so dark and sick.
And remember that other movie? Remember that Sicario? They talked about it there too.
Human
They said, forget cocaine, forget pot. It's trafficking humans.
He goes, because they'll get deported or they'll get swapped, and you can traffic them over and over and over and over and over. They're an endless amount of money supply. Now, that's a sick way of looking at it. I don't even like speaking those words, but that's how these people look at it. It's an endless amount of money they can continue to
Remember,
swap.
all we are cattle to these people that basically control the money supply and who follow the dark one.
So if that didn't get your attention, understand if it is to be, it's up to you as a good Christian parent to protect your children on what they see, what they hear, what they do, who they're around. And by all means, please, for the love of everything, teach your children defensive tactics. I can't understand this concept. I talked to a friend the other day. I was talking to the dad about getting his son in jiu-jitsu. Well, his mother doesn't want him in any combat sports. Life is combat. Everything turns down to a fight at a certain level. You're telling me that a child doesn't need to understand at least the basic concepts of how to defend himself as a growing boy? You're an idiot. You are literally setting them up for failure. Don't sit there and be that parent. Oh, it's okay. Like, they're going to be in piano. Good. I like piano. I know people that can play piano amazing. But he also needs to understand how to knock somebody out and choke them out if he needs to protect his little sister or his mother when he gets older. Don't be that parent that thinks your child still lives in a Pollyanna world, because we don't live in Mayberry anymore, guys. We got flock cameras popping up all over Orlando, monitoring doggone lizards that are eating gnats on the side of the road, record every single thing they're doing. They're not putting cameras in place to protect you. Get that concept to your head. They're doing it to build a grid to monitor everybody and build a doggone menu.
It's not to protect you, it's to control you.
That's exactly right. And it's to build data points on every child coming back from school.
Oh, by the way, this is interesting. I pulled up an article the other day about how school and college enrollment is down because kids are turning to trades.
Yeah.
And guess what? It's been scrubbed off. I can't pull
Really?
it up again. Yeah. And so it was interesting. They were saying enrollment is down because kids are becoming electricians and plumbers and everything else. People begin to realize that you start your life with $100,000, $200,000 of student loans that you can't bankrupt.
That's rough.
You're going to be a slave to that pretty much the rest of your life.
A good friend of mine in college. Good friend of mine. Good kid. He ended up financing everything in college. Finance housing. Finance food. Got it. I'm wrecked up student. Ended up graduating his bachelor's degree with $120,000 of student debt. And I asked him, he lived great, college, lived great. Built his tuner car. I had a Honda Acura RSX. Built it all out. Student loan money. Cool car. Sounded great.
I know a girl that's had a bunch of cosmetic surgery done on student loan money.
I've seen it. And gets out. And we graduated same time, 2008. Well, you guys know what happened in 2008. Wasn't quite the best economy. It was rough when we graduated. So he ended up not having a job. Couldn't get hired. Finally got into real estate in 2009 when the market kind of started liquefying. And I ended up going to work for ICF Builders doing construction contracts. That was life in 2008, 2009 for us. The difference was I was blessed to have a lot of scholarships and get through school and basically able to get through the college without a bunch of student debt. And he decided he was a smart kid. He could have gotten grants and scholarship money. He said it was easier to get student loans, some of that. I said, I don't invest all day. I'm student loans. He goes, I'll pay him back all the money I make when I graduate. That's what you told me. And I said, but I already started to understand debt very quickly. I had an issue with a motorcycle that basically had gotten stolen that I had financed. And I found all about life when you call the bank up and they go, well, you don't have insurance on the bike. I don't have insurance on the bike because it's $800 a month for an 18-year-old to have 1,000 RR. The bank goes, well, see, that's a you problem. You signed a note. You're going to pay it back. And I'm like, but the bike's stolen. It got stolen. Literally. Yeah. See, you still owe us the money. And I went, oh, well, this isn't fun. Well, it's kind of what happens with student debt, isn't it? You graduate with $120,000 in student debt. What do you have? Well, I got a diploma. Okay. And so do the other 50 other people online. That's the problem. You rack up this debt. You think you got something you don't. And a lot of it is a lie.
How's he doing today?
I haven't talked to him in years. I tried to contact him a few years back. Couldn't get a hold of all his numbers were canceled.
I could pay his phone bill, bless his heart.
I know, but it sucks. But again, this is why the trade schools are blowing up. A lot of kids I know now, they're going straight out of high school right in alignment school. I talked to Dexter about that the other day. I mean, they're within 2 to 5 years of being alignment. If you're pheneutic, meaning you're smart, you got a brain on you, you can be making over $100,000 a year by the time you're early 20s. Yeah, I mean, you get all these benefits. Not saying that's the trade you have to go to. What I'm saying is, you go out of high school, no debt, go into a job where you're making $100,000 by the time you're 21, or graduate from college at 21 with $100,000 in student debt. Balance, man, balance.
Well, I mean, look at the tree guys. They'll make $2,000 a day. Tree guys cleaning. Yeah. By the way, this is lesser or white magic. Now listen to me. When the elite, the scum, the filth that rules the planet, they're called the elite, but they're not. They're the scum. When they do things to you, they're going to really screw you over, okay? They believe, and this is their word, from a karma standpoint, that they've got to tell you about it in advance. It's like the vampire comes to your front door and knocks, and you can tell him to hit the road. Vampire, don't look back, I'm done with you. Vampire comes to the front door and hands you a basket full of water moccasins. You can say, no, I'm not signing for that. Get out. I'm not even going to open the door. You take your basket full of snakes and hit the road. Jack, don't look back. But they have the thought that if they tell you that they're water moccasins, if they're going to do this, that's called lesser or white magic. They're warning you in advance what you're going to do and what they're going to do in advance, because they say the karma on the other side of the veil is so bad for them if they don't do that, that basically they get punished on the other side. Now, that's what they believe. Bill Gates is now warning that AI is much more dangerous than anybody could possibly believe, and big tech will not admit it. He is a big cutout from the Rothschild banking cartel. His father and mother both work with Planned Parenthood and the Fed out there in the Northwest. We need to realize that when they're warning you about stuff like this, they're not joking. They're doing their lesser or white magic. AI is going to be unbelievable what it's going to do and how it's going to basically, affect a lot of people. By the way, Trump administration is now preparing mass revocation of visas for asylum seekers. Now, this is crazy. Listen to this. The Trump administration is preparing to cancel the business and tourist visas of as many as 200,000 foreign nationals who've applied for asylum or are currently seeking into the United States. If carried out, the move represents the largest single mass visa revocation in U.S. history and will most certainly face legal challenges. Unless blocked or modified, the State Department is expected to announce within the coming weeks the revocation of B1 and B2 visas issued between 2016 and 2026 to holders who have sought or are now seeking asylum. Now, you know what's so funny to me? Our entire neighborhood behind us is Hispanic. Nobody speaks English. Nobody goes to work.
Nobody goes to work, man.
The cops don't even
cars.
We used to have 5 police officers in Auburn. Now we got like 60 to try to deal with that.
No, it's not exaggerating. I think what they said today, it was like 58.
Yeah, no, I'm not joking. No, I'm not joking. And they said that we don't know what to do with all this growth and all these people who don't speak English, right? Now, here's the problem. They're going to take these people that have applied legally for B1, B2 visas or trying to get, here for some reason or another, and they want to be in the United States, and they're going to throw them out, 200,000 of them, but the neighborhood behind us is filled with people that are totally illegal, and nobody walks in the neighborhood. The cops said they are scared to go there.
Well, they won't go. They said they get a call up there. They will not go without at least one backup.
No, I was there one day.
Dispatch, normally 3 cops. If I see something over there, there's usually 3 cops dispatched.
I had a girl that I was dating who lived about 2 miles from here in one of those neighborhoods. And one day, I go by her house, and there's like 8 cop cars around her house with yellow tape everywhere, blocking the entire road to the person next to her who were basically illegals. And apparently the guy had threatened to kill his wife, and somebody called 911 on him. And they wouldn't go into that neighborhood at all without having all these units with them as backup, with yellow tape everywhere. I couldn't believe it. They're that aggressive when you start going into the neighborhoods because they believe they're little Puerto Rico now. Well, it would be Puerto Rico, little Mexico. Puerto Rico, they can come over here if they want. Doesn't make any difference. But they believe they're little Mexico, little Honduras, or little Laos, or whatever they are, little Cambodia, wherever they're from, that's what they believe. They bring that mindset with them. And if you touch one of us, we're going to touch you right back. So these police officers are terrified also to going into these areas. They really are.
Well, that was the point, right? You subjugate the culture. You bring in the drug guys, you bring in the M16 or MS13 gangs and all these guys. M16s, that's Freudian slip. You bring these guys in and then you basically completely and totally ruin the demographics of a small society. Auburndale used to have 5,000 people in it when I grew up. And that was on the high side.
Yeah, and that's what, 30,000?
You could go, the main road that went out to the interstate, you could go on it and you'd be at the interstate in 4 or 5 minutes. Halftime, you wouldn't even see anybody. You see 2 or 3 cars. Now, you go out the interstate, and I kid you not, it's a grid caterpillar. You see the road, everybody's rut to butt 40 miles an hour all the way out there.
Sometimes that stops.
It just stops. It's just a 2-lane road, but they decided, hey, we need to add 10,000 houses on this road.
4,000.
Well, it'll be 10 eventually.
Yeah,
once they do the doggone Lakes District that I've massively opposed. And the problem with this is it reaches a point where you're like, you push it in the community and you try to fight back. And we've gotten some stuff rejected as far as I'm trying to do medium density in areas, and it goes back to low density. But this is why you have to have individuals that are representing the people by the people. And it's got compromised, man. It's rough, even in small towns. Now, here's an article I want to cover here. It says magnesium can relieve fibromyalgia and migraines and how it works. Magnesium is now looking at managing chronic pain. It says the clinical trial found for the first time that magnesium may help ease fibromyalgia symptoms, particularly stress and pain. Participants were randomly assigned to take 100 milligrams of slow-release magnesium or placebo, one daily. 100 milligrams isn't much magnesium. That's not, by the way. And it still had an effect on here. The study's primary goal is to assess whether magnesium could lower stress levels. Since stress often triggers fibromyalgia flare-ups, researchers also tracked pain, sleep quality, fatigue, and overall well-being. At the end of the month, the results were mixed. Overall stress levels trended downward in the magnesium group, but results were not that significant. However, a closer examination, researchers noticed something interesting. Among participants who started the study with mild to moderate stress, magnesium made a clear difference. In the subgroup, stress scores dropped significantly, but the placebo group saw almost no change. Pain severity also declined with magnesium supplementation. A small but meaningful shift suggested the mineral might have a role in easing fibromyalgia burden. Now, I would love to see this study redone again with 2 or 3 groups of titrating up magnesium. One group with 100, one group with 500, one group with like 1,000 milligrams of magnesium, and actually see the difference in pain and stress on that, because I bet you the higher dosage, just my personal usage, higher doses of magnesium have higher effects.
Well, because the body uses so much of it.
It's like fuel.
It's like 350 biochemical reactions in the body.
The whole body uses it. The whole body uses magnesium. It burns it up like fuel. That's why magnesium brain food is such a popular product. It's got magnesium glycinate and the threonate, which the only magnesium goes through the blood-brain barrier, which that helps out with stress and migraines. I've had so many people, and I'm not making any claims, but I have had so many personal testaments.
This is anecdotal.
Especially with females. For some odd reason, it affects them more on migraines and issues, especially during either menopause and or issues during menstrual cycle, when they start getting headaches, they start getting cramps, and they start taking the magnesium brain food, and they send me email after email. Again, I'm not making claims. This is just what I personally read. And they go, gosh, what's in that stuff? Magnesium threonate. They're like, I cannot not take this. Every time I start having headaches, issues, cramps, I take this stuff. It knocks it out within 30 minutes to an hour. Again, I'm not telling you that's going to happen for everybody, but after a while, you start hearing that same response. It's like, okay, this product obviously hits the nail on the head where it needs to.
Something's happening.
Something's happening positive in the body with this, because I know if I don't take it for a couple days, I'll notice my muscle contractions and my energy in the gym are not the same level. Magnesium is unbelievably important if you're exercising a lot. Your muscles have to have it for basically muscle contractions.
Oh, by the way, you covered this the other day, that the data centers are being able to go in now and go into wetlands and not have any problem with EPA. Remember that? Now,
no impact studies.
You covered it a couple of days ago. Now it's come out. Trump EPA admits and aims to exempt all data centers from disclosing any air pollution.
Told you. You know why? You know why? I brought this up. Remember I brought this up 3 months ago. They're putting in these 3.5 gigawatt mega generators. They're the size of freaking school buses. They're going in and putting 100,000 fuel cell tanks in the back. Personally heard it, seen photos of it. I mean, I'm talking massive fuel cells, out of ground and underground, so they can run the generators when they need to keep the AI data centers together. Well, when you have a data center that's got 25 mega generators, what's the impact of that on air pollution? Because, they want to put all these diesel particulate filters, which, by the way, generators are exempt because they are not roadway vehicles. They do not have to have particular DPF sensors on them. Found that out.
Well, they overheat.
They overheat because the airflow on generators is very mild because they got big fans to cool them down, but the engines don't move. They're not vehicles. They're not going down the road. So they get exempt from all this air pollution requirements with EPA. Now you start stacking dozens and dozens and dozens of generators on every single AI data center. When the grid gets soft, it can't keep enough power because AI centers have ripped it down, torn down the power supply. Oh, we'll just flip on all diesel generators. We'll keep this thing running for another month on its own. EPA goes, oh, don't worry about it. Nothing to see here. We don't need any reports. There's no full exemption. They don't have to do any air pollution. God, the EPA nauseates me, dude.
Well, they're being told what to do. Oh, by the way, Airman has been arrested now at the Capitol for calling for Trump to be impeached and detained again after a CNN interview. No. He did it in full uniform, and so he's violating the code of ethics with the military officers.
That was a bold move, man, in full uniform.
Well, now they're talking about putting him in prison.
Oh, yeah.
And so he basically said that Trump's basically a nightmare. And well, I'm not going to say what he said, but that's what he's implying.
When you're active service and you're in uniform, you have to be very careful what you do publicly.
I remember I had a friend of mine one time come down and testify against a person my friend's a full-bird colonel.
Yeah.
Okay, active. And I said, can you come down in your uniform, testify before the judge? She goes, absolutely not. She would not do it.
No way.
She goes, a lot of judges get really upset when we do stuff like that.
Well, the problem is, if you're a full-bird colonel and you come to a courtroom like that and you're in full attire and you're active duty, you are making that judge look like a complete and total idiot if you're disagreeing with them. You're calling them out. Mm-hmm. And that's just, nah, man. Military don't like that either. You got to be really careful of that. So that was a bold move on his part. Probably it's not going to come out very good because the problem is your government issue, man.
Normally they handle it internally and they don't really make a public spectacle. They don't put him in prison, but they're saying that he's going to get jail time.
When you do it publicly like that and it starts getting news coverage, you start having videos.
Okay, now here's the problem with this. And I'm going to say something that's going to make a lot of you mad. You're in the military. You signed an oath to your commander-in-chief,
yeah,
and you need to honor it. And if you're going to do it, don't do it in uniform. Because don't do it. Because you've got to
oath, man.
You've got to maintain a chain of command. You've got to maintain continuity in the ranks. And when you break it like that, it causes a real problem. They don't like you going above the next person above you. They don't like any of that stuff. So be careful if you're in the military. Oh, by the way, keep your hearts and minds in Christ Jesus in all the days of your life. Remember, he's the author, the finisher, the perfecter of faith. People are always asking me, how do you get through life? How do you get through the day every day? How do you get through all of this stress? And I said, I do it with Jesus.
And purple sticks.
Austin.
I'm sorry. I feel so much better now. I was struggling this morning. I was like, what did I do wrong?
Okay, I do it with Jesus, but I take purple sticks in the morning.
There you go.
Okay?
Let's be honest.
No, and it does help me to have my prayer time better without falling asleep. It does
there
do
you go.
that too.
Yeah,
because sometimes you start praying, you have a tendency to nod off and doze off. But guys, listen to me. If you keep your hearts and minds, you're awful, Austin. You're gonna get letters on
Everybody knows I'm honest.
Well,
I gotta have Christ. Christ is first. Jesus is first. But purple sticks, man, they're like right below it. No, I'm just kidding.
Not really.
No,
but
I'm joking, guys.
Purple sticks are loaded with B vitamins. They really, really help
they feed your
function.
brain, they feed your body, they feed your cells.
Yeah.
And the multivitamin, I didn't get this covered today. The top 10 reasons Health Masters Ultimate Multiple Powder is your natural health ally.
Whoa. Did Harrison write this?
Yes.
That little brat, he copied my top 10 list.
I asked him to do it.
Did you do it?
Oh, it's well done. I did.
Oh, by the way, I mean that very affectionately when I say little brat. He's one of the smartest people I've ever met.
I'm going to cover this tomorrow. Really good article on the site. If you can't wait, you can read it on the site at healthmasters.com, or I'm going to cover it tomorrow in detail. This is what separates our products apart. So check it out, Health Masters. That will be on sale later on this afternoon at healthmasters.com. You guys have a fantastic evening. Stay safe, stay strong, stay healthy. Keep up the fight, my friend. Continue to get the truth out there, because at the end of the day, we can't do this without you. We need you guys. We appreciate you guys. Thank you for your support. Thank you for the 3%ers that make Health Masters your supplement family, and we're here to do everything we can for everyone. Have a great evening, my friends.
By the way, I don't have a halo to adjust. I don't have one of those. I'm not pious. I'm not sanctimonious. And one thing I'm not is I'm not religious, but I'm a very strong Christian, if that makes any sense. So I love you guys. I appreciate you guys. I love you, because we're all sinners saved by grace through faith. And if it wasn't for you guys supporting us, we simply wouldn't be here. But you notice we talk about Jesus every single show. How many podcasts do you listen to where they don't do that or ever mention the name of Jesus? I love you guys. Talk to you tomorrow.